After completing our first objective, assembling 28 wheelchairs and presenting them to their recipients, we set our sights on our next mission, teaching English at a local orphanage. Leaving the busy streets of Siem Reap behind, we headed to the rural outskirts.
And we really felt like we were entering another world outside of Siem Reap. We were bumping along dusty country roads and seeing elevated wooden houses on either side. And the landscape changed fairly dramatically. And after about half an hour, we approached the orphanage.
Hello, I'm Ben. Nice to meet you. So when we arrived, the children had all lined up on either side of the road and made me feel a little bit uncomfortable. I felt like I'm here to help them and that they have kind of had to go out of their way to stand there and wait for me. But they were very warm and very welcoming and took right to showing us all around the orphanage, showing us their bedrooms, showing us their classrooms. And they were very proud to show off their school. And I went from this discomfort to feeling very comfortable and feeling very welcomed. And I was very glad I had the chance to be there.
It was very heartwarming to feel how welcoming the children were, especially having never met them before. And you'd see the joy that you bring to them by just paying them a visit for a few hours. While we were there, they quickly wanted to take us on a tour, and we're proud of their facilities. And I think that's what was really interesting, that we look at some of the places that they're living in, they're staying in, and they're studying in. And to our standards, it's subpar, but to them, they're really proud of what they have.
I can't believe they spoke English, Japanese, Khmer. Some of them spoke Chinese. I mean, in one of the rooms I saw, they had even someone had a Chinese book out, so they were definitely learned all these different languages, and that's huge. Why do you study English?
Because we have like all the people all around the world, they speak English, so we like to study English especially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
To relate to other people.
Yeah.
Bye bye. Their English is actually really, really good. Really good. So I think they'll be teaching us something.
Everyone had a chance to meet them individually. Now we're going to move into the classroom and work on their English skills.
As night fell on the open-air classroom, the volunteers worked with small groups, guiding the kids through a number of prepared English phrases.
Have a nice day.
The purpose of our visit was to give the children a chance to practice with native English speakers and to help them with proper pronunciation.
Say
Our students were eager to learn, and their infectious joy quickly spread throughout the classroom.
That's the thing that goes on your lip.
There was a huge amount of joy, and in a way, the more we revved it up, the more fun they had. Struggling with the pronunciation and then getting it, and then all applauding each other for that.
I had the oldest group of boys, which was slightly challenging. They were great. They were really ready to learn, and as soon as I sat down, they were like, "Teacher, what are you going to teach us?" And so we worked a lot on pronunciation and then also what different words meant. They were very interested to understand words that they'd never heard before and what they mean. So there was a couple words where afterwards they'd be like, "I'm so glad you told us that. I never know what it meant." One of them was recipe. They were enamored by the word recipe. So it just was very fun to see them really that interested in English and taking an interest in the culture.
So I think this is what we should do.
I stepped aside for a little bit and just got to take a really good look at the room and what was going on, and everyone was doing their own thing. After they moved from the English lesson, some people were singing songs, some people were playing some games on a piece of paper. So, and I thought that was a really interesting thing, so you move past of what's on paper and you start to build a relationship with these kids, especially after only a few hours that you're in the facility with the kids. They really warm up to you fairly quickly.
Orphanage visits like this one are contentious in the growing voluntourism industry. There have been some abuses, with illegitimate orphanages created specifically to attract Western tourists. Our volunteer partner, Globalware, carefully screens their Cambodian nonprofit partners and works with their in-country coordinators to ensure the legitimacy of the facility. Another criticism is that these visits might be emotionally confusing for young children. But since our project focused on a short teaching session, this emotional attachment concern seemed to be less threatening than a longer, care-based engagement.
One of the things that I always keep in the back of my mind, regardless of whether it's visiting an orphanage or doing any sort of volunteer work, is looking at the tangible benefit that you get from it, and whether it's actually doing more good or more harm, right? And so I think after thinking a little bit about our visit, even having spent a very short amount of time with them, it does have some very small tangible benefit to it. The kids are just so happy and so eager to see you, and I think that says something for the limited amount of time we have, that we can make a difference, even if it's very short.
For more information, visit journeysforgood.com.